The night shift at the Deep Space Monitoring Station was usually quiet. Lieutenant Commander Alice Morgan liked it that way. The peaceful hum of computers and occasional sips of coffee made the midnight hours pass easily. But tonight was different. "That's strange," she said, leaning closer to her screen. The signal pattern didn't match anything in their database. It pulsed with perfect regularity, forming sequences that repeated every 93 seconds. Alice checked the signal against known cosmic phenomena and satellite transmissions. Nothing matched. She tapped a few keys, running it through advanced pattern recognition software. The computer beeped. The screen flashed. Artificial origin, 99.9% probability. Alice's heart raced. She reached for the phone and dialed a number she had memorized but never used. "Dr. Mason, this is Lieutenant Commander Morgan at Station 6. I need you here immediately." William Mason arrived within the hour, his gray hair uncombed and his jacket hastily thrown over pajamas. He had been the lead scientist at the station for over 15 years. Nothing surprised him anymore. Or so he thought. "Show me everything," he said, dropping his bag on an empty chair. Alice pointed to the main screen. "The signal appeared 90 minutes ago. It's coming from just beyond Neptune's orbit. The pattern is too perfect to be natural." Dr. Mason slipped on his glasses and studied the data. Minutes passed in silence. "Have you informed anyone else?" he finally asked, his voice unnaturally quiet. "No, sir. Protocol says to verify with the senior scientist first." Mason nodded and took a deep breath. "Good, because this, Lieutenant Commander, is what we've been searching for our entire lives." He tapped the screen. "This is a first contact signal. Mathematical sequences, prime numbers. Someone is saying hello." Within 3 hours, the Pentagon's crisis room filled with military officials and scientists. The president joined by secure video link. Admiral Joseph Carter stood at the front of the room, pointing to projection screens. "The signal contains 3 distinct parts," he explained. "The first is a mathematical introduction, prime numbers, simple equations, universal language. The second part appears to be coordinates using pulsars as reference points. And the third part," he paused, looking around the room. "The third part is a detailed map of our solar system, with Earth clearly marked." A heavy silence fell over the room. "Are they coming here?" asked Secretary of Defense Helen Wright. Dr. Peter Landon from NASA nodded. "Based on the signal strength and direction, yes, something is headed our way, something big." The president leaned forward on screen. "Options, people. I need options." Admiral Carter straightened his uniform. "Madam President, we've been preparing for this possibility. Project Starwatch has orbital defense satellites that can be activated. They won't stop an advanced civilization, but they might buy us time." "Time for what?" asked Secretary Wright. "To panic? To start a global war?" "Time to understand what we're dealing with," said Dr. Mason. He had been brought in as the signal's discoverer. "The message isn't hostile. It's an announcement. They want us to know they're coming." In a small town in Montana, Frank Delgado aimed his telescope at the night sky as he had done every clear night for the past 20 years. His backyard observatory wasn't fancy, but he had good equipment and keen eyes. Tonight he focused on the outer solar system, photographing Neptune as part of his ongoing planet observation project. As he reviewed the images on his computer, he noticed something odd. A slight distortion near the planet, like heat waves on a summer road. He adjusted his telescope and took more pictures. The distortion was growing. Frank uploaded his findings to an amateur astronomers forum. Within minutes, others confirmed the same observation from different locations around the world. Whatever they were seeing, it was real. By morning, the news had leaked. Grainy photos of the Neptune anomaly flooded social media. Government officials issued vague statements about investigating unusual astronomical phenomena. People knew something was happening. At NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, Olivia Wright worked through her 3rd straight shift. As the lead engineer for deep space imaging, she had been tasked with getting clear pictures of whatever was approaching. The agency's most powerful telescopes were now all pointing in one direction. "I've got something," she announced to the crowded control room. Putting it on screen now. The high-resolution image appeared on the main display. What they saw silenced every person in the room. Against the blackness of space outlined by Neptune's blue glow was an unmistakable structure. Not an asteroid or comet. Not a natural object of any kind. Its surface gleamed with metallic precision, vast sections arranged in patterns too regular to be anything but constructed. That's... The NASA director couldn't finish his sentence. A ship, Olivia completed for him. A spaceship. And based on the scale markers, it's over 5 miles long. Further analysis revealed it wasn't just one ship. Behind the massive lead vessel, sensors detected hundreds of smaller objects all moving together in perfect formation. 3 days after the initial signal detection, the president addressed the world from the Oval Office. "My fellow citizens of Earth," she began, her voice steady despite the historic weight of her words. "I speak to you today on a matter of global importance. 3 days ago, our scientists detected signals from beyond our solar system. These signals were sent deliberately by intelligent beings not from Earth. Across the planet, billions watched and listened. In city squares, on phones, through radios in remote villages. Humanity collectively held its breath. We have confirmed that a group of vessels is approaching our solar system. Their intentions are unknown, but I want to be clear. All nations are sharing information and resources. Today we are not divided by borders or ideologies. We face this moment as one human family." In secure facilities around the world, military forces went on high alert. Dormant defense systems were activated. Scientists worked frantically to understand the alien signal better, to prepare some kind of response. At the Deep Space Monitoring Station, Alice Morgan continued tracking the approaching fleet. Its speed had decreased, suggesting deliberate deceleration. They were taking their time, making no effort to hide their approach. "What do you think they want?" she asked Dr. Mason, who hadn't left the facility since that first night. The old scientist removed his glasses and rubbed his tired eyes. In human history, when a technologically advanced civilization encountered a less advanced one, it rarely ended well for the latter. He put his glasses back on. "Let's hope they're better than we were." The alien fleet passed Neptune's orbit, exactly 1 week after the first signal. Earth waited, watched, and prepared for whatever would come next. 3 months passed since the alien fleet was first detected. Earth had changed in ways no one could have predicted. Old enemies now shared information freely. Borders seemed less important when the entire planet faced a common situation. The United Planetary Defense Council formed with representatives from every nation. Their headquarters, a converted conference center in Geneva, buzzed with activity day and night. Olivia Wright had been recruited from NASA to lead the technical analysis team. Her office walls were covered with images and data about the approaching fleet. Each day brought new information as the alien armada moved closer. "They've passed Jupiter's orbit," she told General Samuel Dixon during their morning briefing. She pointed to a large screen showing the solar system. Hundreds of red dots moved slowly but steadily toward Earth. Their deceleration continues to be precise and controlled. The general nodded, his face showing little emotion, though his eyes revealed concern. "How many ships now?" "We've confirmed 962 vessels. The largest is approximately 8 miles long. The smallest are about the size of our aircraft carriers." Olivia pulled up a new image on her tablet. "Our best telescopes captured this yesterday." The image showed the lead ship in stunning detail. Its surface gleamed with a metal unknown to Earth. Sections of the hull glowed with soft blue light. No visible windows or openings could be seen, but patterns across its surface suggested purposeful design beyond human engineering capabilities. "They're beautiful," Olivia whispered. "Beautiful things can still be dangerous," the general replied. "Any progress on communications?" Olivia switched screens again. Dr. Dawson's team has partially translated more of their messages. They're not just saying hello anymore. They're sending instructions. In a different part of the building, Dr. Peter Dawson led a team of linguists and mathematicians working around the clock. The aliens continued broadcasting, their signals now directed specifically at Earth rather than general announcements. The patterns had grown more complex. "Look at this sequence," he told his assistant, Susan Bell. "It repeats in their last 3 transmissions. I think it's a meeting protocol." Susan studied the pattern. "A meeting? You mean they want to talk?" "More than that. They're telling us exactly when and how they want to meet." Peter ran his hand through his thinning hair. "They plan to enter Earth orbit in 6 days. They expect our leaders to be ready to welcome them." President Catherine Monroe stood at the window of the Oval Office. Sleep had become a luxury she rarely enjoyed. The weight of humanity's future pressed on her shoulders. Her aide entered with the latest report from Geneva. "They've translated more of the message, Madam President. The aliens call themselves the Galactic Empire. They control thousands of star systems." The aide paused. "Dr. Dawson believes they see us as primitive." The president turned from the window. "Primitive or not, we still have dignity. Arrange a secure call with the Defense Council. I want our response ready before they arrive." Far from political centers and secret meetings, ordinary people prepared in their own ways. Some panicked, emptying store shelves and fleeing to remote areas. Others held prayer vigils in churches, mosques, and temples. Many simply continued their daily lives while watching the news for updates. In Chicago, schoolteacher Linda Powell decided her 5th grade class should continue as normal. Today, they were writing letters. "Who are we writing to, Miss Powell?" asked 10-year-old Zach. "To the visitors," she replied calmly. "They're coming a very long way to meet us. It's only polite to say hello." The children wrote their innocent questions and greetings. Linda knew the letters would never reach the aliens, but the exercise helped the children process what was happening. One girl asked if the aliens had pets. A boy wanted to know if they played sports. Normal questions in an abnormal time. At a military base in Nevada, preparations took a different form. Colonel Eric Barnes supervised as fighter pilots ran combat simulations against unknown aircraft with superior technology. "Again," he ordered after watching another failed defense attempt. "We need to be creative. Forget the standard approaches." Major Denise Clark removed her simulation helmet. "Sir, with respect, we can't win against what we're seeing in these scenarios. Their technology is too advanced." "I don't need you to win, Major. I need you to survive long enough to gather information." The colonel's voice softened slightly. "If diplomacy fails, you'll be our first eyes on their combat capabilities. Come back alive with that intel." Major Clark nodded and put her helmet back on. The simulation restarted. Under the Montana night sky, Frank Delgado continued his observations. His little observatory had become an unofficial information point for his community. Tonight, neighbors gathered in his yard, sharing food and looking upward. "Can we see them?" asked Mrs. Gordon from next door. Frank adjusted his telescope. "Not with the naked eye yet. But through this..." He stepped aside to let her look. Mrs. Gordon gasped. Through the telescope, the lead alien ship was visible as a small but distinct shape against the stars. "They're really coming. They've always been coming," Frank said quietly. "We just didn't know it until now." In Geneva, the Defense Council finalized Earth's official response. After hours of debate, they agreed on a message of peaceful greeting combined with a firm statement of planetary sovereignty. The message would be broadcast continuously until the aliens arrived. Dr. Dawson supervised the transmission. "Keep it simple. Keep it clear," he instructed his team. "Use the mathematical formats they understand." The reply was sent. Hours passed, without acknowledgement. Then, just as many were losing hope of a response, the alien fleet adjusted course slightly. "They received it," Olivia confirmed, studying the tracking data. "They've altered their approach vector to match our suggested orbital entry point." General Dixon studied the new trajectory. "So they're listening, that's something." "They're doing more than listening," Olivia said. "Look at this." She showed him new sensor readings. Several smaller ships had detached from the main fleet and accelerated ahead. "They're sending an advance group. They'll reach Earth orbit in 36 hours. The news spread quickly. Earth's military forces moved to high alert status. Space agencies prepared to track the approaching vessels. Television channels broadcast continuous updates. In the White House Situation Room, President Monroe met with her advisors. Options? She asked simply. The Secretary of Defense spoke first. We have nuclear missiles ready, but we don't know if they would be effective. And we don't know if they would be justified, added the Secretary of State. This could still be a peaceful contact. The President nodded. We prepare for both possibilities. Activate all defense systems but keep them in standby mode. No aggressive actions unless I directly order them. She looked around the room. We are about to meet beings from another world. Let's try not to make humanity's first impression a violent one. As darkness fell across America, millions looked up at the night sky. Somewhere up there, among the familiar stars, visitors from beyond approached. Tomorrow would begin a new chapter in human history. Whether it would be a chapter of peace or conflict, no one could say. The first alien ship entered Earth orbit exactly at dawn, Eastern Standard Time. It positioned itself above the Atlantic Ocean, visible from both American and European coastlines. 5 smaller vessels followed, forming a perfect circle around the larger ship. They made no attempt to hide or use stealth. Their hulls gleamed in the morning sunlight, clearly visible even to the naked eye. Commander Ryan Blackwood stood on the bridge of the EDS Defiant, Earth's newest and most advanced spacecraft. Built in secret over the past decade, the Defiant had been rushed into service for this historic moment. It was humanity's best attempt at a military vessel, though everyone aboard knew it was nothing compared to what orbited a few miles away. All systems ready, Commander, reported Lieutenant Susan Miller from the navigation console. Her voice remained professional despite the extraordinary circumstances. Ryan nodded, his eyes fixed on the view screen showing the massive alien vessel. Begin approach vector. Standard speed. No sudden movements. The Defiant moved slowly toward the alien fleet. Its mission was simple but terrifying. Deliver Earth's delegation to meet the visitors. In the ship's conference room, 7 humans from different nations waited. They represented Earth's first official contact team. Incoming transmission, called Communications Officer Jack Rivera. They're sending docking instructions. The alien message appeared on screen, translated into English by Dr. Dawson's team. The instructions were precise and surprisingly easy to follow. The aliens had clearly dealt with less advanced species before. Ryan studied the approach path. They want us to dock with their main vessel, right at that opening. He pointed to what looked like a massive hangar door now sliding open on the side of the alien ship. Orders, sir? Asked Susan. Ryan took a deep breath. Follow their instructions exactly. Alert our passengers will be docking in 10 minutes. The Defiant entered the alien hangar bay, a space large enough to hold dozens of Earth's largest aircraft carriers. The human ship seemed tiny and primitive by comparison. When the bay repressurized, Ryan led the Earth delegation down the ramp onto the alien deck. They were met by tall humanoid figures with iridescent skin that seemed to shift colors in the light. Their eyes were large, with pupils like swirling galaxies. The one in front stepped forward. I am Ambassador Zorthul of the Galactic Empire, it said in perfect English. We welcome Earth's representatives. Dr. Elizabeth Grant, the delegation's head diplomat, stepped forward. Thank you for your welcome, Ambassador. We come in peace and friendship, representing the United Nations of Earth. The alien made a gesture that might have been a smile. Peace is always the Empire's preference. Please follow me to the meeting chamber. Emperor Vorzax awaits your arrival. As they walked through corridors that seemed to shift and change around them, Ryan stayed alert. His military training hadn't prepared him for this, but his instincts told him something wasn't right. The aliens were too confident, too casual about this historic meeting. The meeting chamber was a vast room with a curved ceiling that displayed what looked like a live map of the galaxy. Hundreds of stars were marked with imperial symbols. At the center stood a holographic figure twice as tall as a human. The Emperor honors you with his virtual presence, explained Zorthul. His physical form remains at the Imperial capital, 16 light years from here. The holographic Emperor spoke, his voice deep and resonant. People of Earth, your world has been noticed by the Galactic Empire. This is an honor few primitive species receive. Your planet will join our domain as a protectorate. Your people will be granted basic rights under Imperial law. Elizabeth Grant stepped forward. Emperor, while we appreciate your offer, Earth is a sovereign world. We would prefer to establish diplomatic relations as equals. The Emperor's expression didn't change. You misunderstand. This is not a negotiation. It is an announcement. The Empire has claimed this system. Survey teams will begin resource assessment immediately. Your cooperation is appreciated but not required. Back on Earth, in a hidden facility beneath the Nevada desert, Dr. Laura Chen worked frantically. For 20 years, her team had been studying technology from a crashed alien scout ship found in 1947. Now, their work might be humanity's only hope. Power level stable, reported her assistant, Greg Porter. The core is accepting the new configuration. Laura nodded, not looking up from her calculations. Keep it steady. We need another 6 hours for full integration. The device before them didn't look impressive. A metallic sphere about 3 feet in diameter covered with intricate patterns. But inside was technology far beyond human understanding, modified with Earth science in ways even its original creators hadn't imagined. Dr. Chen, called a voice from the doorway. General Dixon entered the lab, his uniform crisp despite having been awake for nearly 48 hours. The aliens have begun landing survey teams, New York, Beijing, Moscow, and Rio so far. Laura looked up. We need more time. Time is something we don't have, Dixon replied. The president is about to address the nation. The Empire has given us 48 hours to prepare for their administrators to take control of our governments. On the alien flagship, the Earth delegation was escorted back to their ship. The meeting had lasted less than 30 minutes. No discussion, no questions, just the announcement of Earth's new status as an imperial possession. As they prepared to depart, Ryan noticed alien technicians attaching a small device to the Defiant's hull. What's that? He asked their escort. A tracking beacon, replied Zorthul casually. Standard procedure for protectorate vessels. All Earth ships will receive one. Ryan's jaw tightened, but he said nothing. Once back aboard and away from the alien vessel, he called Earth. They're not here to talk, he reported to President Monroe. They've already decided our fate. The president's face on the view screen looked grim. Return immediately, Commander. We're implementing Defiance Protocol. Within hours, alien survey teams appeared around Earth, transported from their ships in beams of light. They moved with purpose, setting up equipment at strategic locations. They ignored humans completely unless physically obstructed. In Washington, D.C., an alien team appeared on the National Mall. When National Guard troops formed a perimeter, the aliens simply walked through them as if they weren't there, some kind of energy field making them untouchable. Similar scenes played out worldwide. The aliens weren't violent, just completely dismissive. Humans were treated like animals. In a nature preserve, native life forms to be cataloged but not worth communicating with. President Monroe met with the United Planetary Defense Council via secure video link. Dr. Chen reports Project Ares is nearly ready, but we need more time. Time we don't have, replied the Chinese premier. These beings have technology that makes our nuclear weapons look like stone axes. The Russian president leaned forward. Then perhaps we should use those stone axes while we still can. President Monroe shook her head. No, that's exactly what we cannot do. If there's even a small chance Project Ares works, we need to wait. As the debate continued, alien ships began atmospheric mining operations in Earth's upper atmosphere. The sky turned strange colors as they extracted gases and chemicals. Weather patterns shifted rapidly, causing storms and flooding in coastal regions. In Nevada, Laura Chen made the final adjustments to the Ares device. It's ready, she announced to General Dixon, but we only have one. If it fails, it won't fail, he replied with more confidence than he felt. Humanity has overcome every challenge in our history. We'll overcome this one too. As night fell across America, people looked up at skies now filled with alien ships. Tomorrow would determine if humans would remain masters of their own world or become just another subject species in a vast galactic empire. 2 days after the arrival of the Galactic Empire, their mining operations began in earnest. Giant machines appeared in the Mariana Trench, extracting rare minerals from the deepest part of Earth's oceans. Similar operations started in the Arctic, the Amazon, and the Australian outback. The aliens worked with cold efficiency, ignoring all human attempts to communicate or protest. Major Ethan Rivera led a team of 6 Special Forces soldiers on what might be humanity's most important mission. They moved silently through the Montana forest toward an alien survey station. Each carried standard weapons, though they knew these would likely be useless. What mattered was the device in Ethan's backpack, Dr. Chen's Ares prototype. "Remember, we don't engage unless absolutely necessary," Ethan whispered to his team. "Our job is delivery, not combat." Through night vision goggles, they observed 3 aliens working around a small ship. The vessel was sleek and silver, about the size of a city bus. It hummed softly as it analyzed soil samples. "That's our target," Ethan confirmed. "Team positions." The soldiers spread out surrounding the site. Specialist Sophia Daniels, the team's tech expert, moved closer with scanning equipment. "I'm detecting an energy field around the perimeter," she reported quietly through her comm link. "Similar to what was reported in DC, we can't get through it." Ethan considered their options. The plan had been to place the Ares device on the alien ship while the survey team was distracted. Now they needed a new approach. "Hold positions," he ordered. "Let's observe and wait for an opportunity." For hours, they watched the aliens work. Unlike humans, the visitors didn't seem to need breaks. They moved with purpose, collecting samples and taking readings. At dawn, something changed. The energy field around the site flickered briefly. One of the aliens adjusted a device on its belt. "Field fluctuation," Sophia reported. "They're changing configuration, maybe to compensate for solar radiation." "That's our window," Ethan decided. "Daniels, you're with me. The rest of you, be ready to cover our retreat." When the field flickered again, Ethan and Sophia sprinted toward the ship. They had seconds to cross the perimeter before the field stabilized. Sophia made it through easily. Ethan barely slipped past as the invisible barrier snapped back into place. Now, inside the perimeter, they crouched behind equipment and moved toward the ship. The aliens continued working, apparently unaware of the human intruders. 20 seconds, Ethan whispered to Sophia. "Get to the underside of the ship, place the device, then straight back the way we came." They were halfway to the target when one of the aliens turned suddenly. Its galaxy-like eyes fixed directly on Sophia. It made a series of clicking sounds that might have been speech. "Move now," Ethan ordered. They abandoned stealth and ran for the ship. The alien reached for a device on its belt. Sophia got to the ship first, sliding beneath it with the Ares device. Ethan provided cover, though he knew his weapons would be useless if the aliens attacked. The alien tilted its head, studying Ethan with what looked like curiosity rather than anger. It made no move to stop them. Perhaps humans were so insignificant that even this intrusion wasn't worth addressing. "Device placed," Sophia reported, sliding out from under the ship. "Activation sequence initiated." The alien watching them spoke, again this time in heavily accented English. "This action is noted. Resistance is unnecessary and illogical. So is taking our planet," Ethan replied. The alien seemed to consider this. "Your species will adapt to Imperial management. Most do." Before Ethan could respond, the energy field around the perimeter flickered again. He grabbed Sophia's arm and they ran. The alien made no move to stop them. They cleared the perimeter just as the field stabilized again. "Fall back," Ethan ordered his team. Mission accomplished. In Washington, D.C., President Monroe received the confirmation she had been waiting for. "The device is in place," she told the emergency session of the United Nations. "Now we wait." The waiting didn't last long. At exactly noon Eastern Time, the Ares device activated. There was no explosion, no visible effect at all. But across the world, alien equipment suddenly shut down. Their ships, while still in the air, seemed to drift without purpose. The massive vessel in the Mariana Trench stopped its mining operation and floated silently in the water. In Geneva, Olivia Wright monitored the situation from the Defense Council headquarters. "It's working," she reported to General Dixon. "The device is creating some kind of energy disruption that's affecting their technology." The general studied the global map, showing alien ships and survey teams suddenly inactive. "How long will it last?" "Dr. Chen says maybe 6 hours. The effect should spread to their larger ships in orbit soon." As predicted, the alien vessels in Earth orbit began drifting out of their precise formations. The flagship itself seemed to lose power momentarily before switching to some kind of backup system. Almost immediately, a communication came from the flagship. Ambassador Zorthul's face appeared on screens in government centers worldwide. "This action is hostile and unacceptable," the alien declared, its normally calm demeanor showing signs of agitation. "Deactivate your weapon immediately, or face severe consequences." The United World leaders had prepared for this moment. President Monroe delivered humanity's response. "Ambassador Zorthul, your empire came to our world uninvited. You declared ownership of our planet without consultation or consent. You dismissed us as primitives unworthy of respect." She paused, making sure her words were clear. "What you have experienced is one of thousands of similar devices we have prepared. Should your empire continue its invasion, we will deploy them all. We would rather destroy our world than surrender it." For several moments, Zorthul was silent. When he spoke again, his voice had a new tone, something like caution. "The empire has encountered resistance before. None have prevailed." "Perhaps none were as desperate as humans," the president replied. "We give you 1 rotation of our planet to withdraw your forces beyond the orbit of our moon. After that, we activate every device simultaneously." The communication ended abruptly. For tense hours, no response came. The disabled alien ship in Montana suddenly activated and ascended rapidly into the sky. Similar reports came from around the world. The survey teams were retreating. In Nevada, Dr. Chen monitored the Ares device's performance. "It worked better than we expected," she told General Dixon. "The alien technology is highly vulnerable to the quantum disruption field." "Can we make more?" the general asked. Laura shook her head. "The core element came from their own crashed ship. We have no way to replicate it." The general's face remained impassive, but concern showed in his eyes. "So we have exactly 1 functioning device?" "Yes," Laura confirmed. "Our warning to the Empire was mostly a bluff." "Let's hope they believe it," the general replied. "Because if they call our bluff..." In orbit, the massive Imperial flagship moved away from Earth, taking up position near Mars. The smaller vessels followed. They maintained this position, making no further approach but showing no signs of leaving the solar system. The people of Earth celebrated what seemed like victory, unaware that humanity's fate now depended on whether an alien empire would believe a desperate bluff. 3 days passed with the Imperial fleet holding position near Mars. On Earth, people watched the skies with a mixture of hope and fear. Had humanity's warning worked? Or was the Empire simply planning its next move? In the Oval Office, President Monroe met with her crisis team. The room was tense with exhaustion. No one had slept properly since the aliens arrived. "What's the latest?" she asked Admiral Carter. "Their ships remain in Mars orbit," he reported. "No communications, no movement toward Earth, but no sign of them leaving our solar system either." Dr. Chen, who had been brought to Washington after the success of the Ares device, spoke up. "The longer they stay, the more likely they'll detect our bluff. They must have technology that can scan for more devices like ours." The Secretary of Defense nodded grimly. "We should prepare for the possibility that they'll call our bluff and return." Before anyone could respond, an aide rushed into the room. "Madam President, we're receiving a transmission from the Imperial flagship. They're requesting another meeting." All eyes turned to the President. She straightened her jacket and took a deep breath. "Tell them we accept. Same delegation as before." 6 hours later, Commander Ryan Blackwood once again guided the EDS Defiant toward the alien vessel. This time, however, the meeting would take place in Earth orbit. The Imperial flagship had moved from Mars and now floated above Earth's atmosphere, alone without its escort fleet. "They're showing restraint," Ryan observed to Dr. Elizabeth Grant, who again led the Earth delegation. "One ship instead of the whole fleet." Elizabeth nodded. "Either a sign of respect or they're confident enough that they don't need to intimidate us with numbers." When they docked with the Imperial ship, Ambassador Zorthul greeted them personally. His iridescent skin seemed dimmer than before, his posture less imposing. "The Emperor wishes to speak with you again," he said without the previous confidence. "This way, please." They were led to the same chamber as before. The holographic Emperor appeared, but this time his image was life-sized rather than towering above them. "People of Earth," he began, his tone noticeably different. "Our initial assessment of your civilization was incomplete. We did not expect resistance of the nature you demonstrated." Elizabeth stepped forward. "We did warn you, Emperor. Humans will defend our home at any cost." The Emperor made a gesture that might have been acknowledgement. "Indeed. After analyzing the device you used against our survey vessel, our scientists have confirmed it contains technology that should be beyond your development level. This suggests you have had previous contact with advanced species, or perhaps with our own technology." The Earth delegation remained silent. They had agreed not to reveal anything about the crashed ship from 1947. "Regardless," the Emperor continued, "the Empire recognizes that subjugating Earth would require resources we prefer not to commit at this time. Therefore, we offer new terms." The terms were unexpected. The Galactic Empire would withdraw completely beyond Saturn's orbit. Earth would be registered as a sovereign world, not to be approached without explicit permission. In exchange, humans would not share their disruptive technology with other species. Elizabeth conferred briefly with her team before responding. "These terms are acceptable to Earth. We have no desire for conflict, only to maintain our independence." The Emperor's hologram nodded. "The treaty will be formalized immediately. The Imperial fleet will begin withdrawal within one planetary rotation." As the Earth delegation returned to their ship, Ryan noticed the change in the aliens' behavior. The casual dismissal was gone. The aliens now watched the humans carefully, maintaining distance as if worried about hidden weapons. "They believe our bluff completely," he whispered to Elizabeth. "They think we have an arsenal of those devices." Elizabeth smiled thinly. "Let's hope they never learn otherwise." When the delegation returned to Earth, the news spread quickly. Celebrations erupted worldwide. Humanity had stood against an interstellar empire and won independence. The aliens were leaving. In Nevada, Dr. Chen watched the Imperial fleet's departure on a monitor. General Dixon stood beside her, his usual stern expression softened slightly. "We did it," she said quietly. "They're really leaving," the general nodded. "For now. But they'll be back someday. Empires don't give up easily." "Then we'd better be ready when they return," Laura replied. The general looked at the Ares device, now secured in the most protected vault on Earth. "Can you make more?" "No," she admitted, "but I can make something better." From the White House lawn, President Monroe addressed the world. Behind her, the last Imperial ships were visible as tiny points of light climbing into the evening sky. "Today marks not an ending but a beginning," she declared. "We have been noticed by the galaxy at large. We cannot go back to our old divisions and conflicts. From this day forward, Earth must stand united, not just against external threats, but for our common future among the stars." In the months that followed, the world changed. Nations pooled resources into a unified space program. Research into the alien technology accelerated. Defense systems were established in orbit. For the first time in human history, the entire species worked toward a common goal, ensuring that humanity would never again be seen as easy prey. Admiral Carter and Dr. Chen supervised the construction of Earth's first true defensive fleet. The ships were small compared to Imperial vessels, but incorporated what they had learned from the alien technology. Will it be enough? Laura asked as they watched the first ship, the EDS Guardian, prepare for its maiden voyage. Not yet, the Admiral admitted. But we have something the Empire doesn't expect. What's that? Time, he said. They'll wait decades before checking on us again. That's decades for us to prepare, to advance, to build. And humans can accomplish a lot when properly motivated. 5 years after the Imperial withdrawal, Earth launched its first faster-than-light probe, based on principles reverse-engineered from the alien technology. 10 years after that, the first human colony ship reached Proxima Centauri. When the Galactic Empire finally returned 50 years later, they found not a single vulnerable planet, but a thriving interstellar civilization with outposts across a dozen star systems and a fleet of warships patrolling Earth's borders. Ambassador Zor Thul, now aged but still representing the Empire, was greeted by Admiral Sophia Daniels aboard the massive Earth flagship Defiance. Your species continues to surprise us, he admitted. No other world has advanced so quickly after first contact. Sophia smiled, remembering the desperate mission decades ago when she had helped place humanity's sole warning device on an alien ship. Perhaps you underestimated how seriously we take our independence, she replied. Now, shall we discuss a proper alliance? I believe there are threats in this galaxy that both humanity and the Empire would benefit from facing together. The sole warning Earth had given 50 years earlier had bought humanity the time it needed. Now, the Empire came not as conquerors, but as potential allies, seeking the strength and ingenuity that had transformed humans from planetary primitives to galactic equals in a single generation.